Hi, everyone, and I just want to welcome you here during this wonderful convergence, Enlightening Our Way Together. And I'm so grateful that this convergence is happening and that people like John Raymer and Ben Bowler and Anna Marie Voorhoeven have all put this together, and Becky Suzik. Really grateful for that. And this particular convergence room is the Unitive Justice and Economics Convergence Room. It's hosted by the Hague Center. Anna Marie is co-founder, and my other Hague Center colleagues are here. I see Kara's here. Hi, Kara, and Diana Clare. And I just also like to thank Diana Clare and Kara for stewarding this convergence room. It is a huge undertaking to be steward, and it's wonderful to arrive in a convergence room and just have that comfort and that luxury of being able to speak and knowing that you're supported. So thank you for that. And also thank you, Kamala and Shamima, for Zoom tech. I know this is going to be a team effort, but I really appreciate that. And all the participants in this session, Cami, Donna, Sheila, Shamima, Lisa, Annie, Lisa, both Lisas, Bernie and Berman, and Brian. So I just want to thank you all, and it's great to have my mom in the room too. And thankful to see you, Becky. I haven't seen you in quite a while. So with that, we're just going to start this journey. This is a journey of truth. This morning in our Bridging Continents group call, we were talking about truth. And truth is something so personal. When all of us are standing, looking at the same moon, maybe we're standing in the same spot more or less, and we're looking at that, each of us can describe it in a different way, and we each see something different. So truth is very individual, and thinking that there's one universal truth for all of us, it just doesn't make sense, because with our different upbringings, with our different environmental influences, different experiences, we just will never see the same thing. So the Truth Walker's Journey, 8-Piece Power, this session is based on my book, The Truth Walker's Journey, which I had just a little while ago. Here it is. The Truth Walker's Journey, the unbecoming of who you are not. And it's all about getting to the core of what we believe, getting to the core of our deepest truth. And how can we claim sovereignty with our truth, really claim what is at our core, what is in our hearts, and come with that to the collective table to nourish peace. We're at a time in our world where, with the looks of things, there is no peace. We see wars, and it's 2023, and it's been so heartbreaking. You know, a lot of people just can't wrap their heads around it. So how do we bring this down to ourselves so that it's tangible, so that we're really doing something tangible, because we feel so helpless, so disempowered with everything that's happening in the world? And the first thing is inner peace, because when we have inner peace, then we can contribute to collective peace, to collective power, not just from what we do, but from who we are, from the foundation of who we are. And we're going to ask 3 questions here. These are questions that I think all of us, all of humanity, we ask at some time in our lives, through different words. And the first one is, who am I? Like, we all ask that, even as babies explore their limbs and they ask, who am I? And that question deserves an answer. Many times people don't ever feel any recognition of an answer. And the second question is, what is my deepest truth? That again, you know, we are so trained into what we should believe, who we should be, that it doesn't become individual. We never go inside and explore, well, what is my deepest truth individually? And the third question is, what am I bringing to our collective table? We may not ask it in those words, but, you know, people get up and they say, especially in their 40s and their 50s, they're asking the question of, what am I doing? What is my purpose? Like, what have I been doing all my life? And as they get older, was what I was doing wasted time? Like, did it mean anything to anyone at all? And we're always asking that. And I believe that that is such a valuable piece, P-I-E-C-E, of the whole piece, the collective P-E-A-C-E, because when we have confidence and feel worthy of bringing something, we're more likely to bring something that we feel matters. You know, we don't hold back. I hope that there's no echo here from my side. We're getting a storm, and if you feel that there is something going on, just let me know, and I'll speak a little louder because that's what I can do. So we go into the first question, who am I? And let's go on this journey together. If you'd like to, and you don't have to share, but if you were to ask the question, who am I? What do you feel you could say? And maybe we could just hear from one or two people who feel like sharing. And if you don't worry. And, oh, Brian, go ahead.
Yes, so the question has always been my meditation practice. And every identification seems to be temporary. And so I was continually left with, what is this container where everything has shown up in the course of my life? And seeing that there's something that has been observing through my entire life, like aware of my life. And it took really almost 60 years to begin to identify with that awareness as who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful sharing. Lisa.
I'd like to share my process that was starting with, who am I not? And came in a way to a very similar conclusion. Everything I was believing that I am, all my identifications, all my beliefs, that's who am I not? And then the question is, what is left? And in an essence, it's just the I am. You know, when I observed, you know, I'm a holistic healer, I observed babies, little children, And they're just there until the mind comes in more and more and then identify, maybe me, I was told, oh, you're a cute girl, or you're Lisa, and more one takes on so many things where we think that's who we are. So, and how to reverse it is the journey. And so, yeah, and I found many pointers in many religions and cultures who are having this question, even in the Oracle of Delphi, who am I? So I think it's really a journey, and maybe not a final state until we really just that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lisa. What's interesting about that is the journey, not the final state, and we're going to go into that. We so often expect that final state. And something else you said, you know, that I can't remember what exactly it was, but you know, as we come into the world as babies, I've said this, that a baby doesn't question, will I get milk? Can I get a hug? They accept the abundance. They accept that there's an expectation of being taken care of and being supported by the universe, greater universe, and their needs being taken care of. And you know, like you say, we take on these different identities. By the time we're adults, we've taken on the fears and insecurities of the villages, the village that raised us. So a very valid point there. Yeah. Carmela.
Yeah, I loved Lisa's answer. And I went through a similar process of looking at, you know, a lot of my life was spent going, I don't like this in the world. I'm not taking that on. That is not who I will become. And in that process of choosing what not to be, I realized that my answer to all three of these questions is love. I am love. My deepest truth is love, and love is what I bring to the collective table. That's because that is all there is in the world. However we express it, even our angers, our fears, all of the things that we classify as negative, ultimately come from a place of love. We're afraid of losing the things we love. We get angry in the face of a threat to what we love. So I can't see how anything exists outside of love. So for me, that is the answer to everything all the time.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And when I remember listening to one of Brian Swim's presentations, and he said something, and I thought, oh, I'm going to introduce myself next time. I need to, like this. I am a cosmic being building the noosphere. You know, that would be an interesting way to introduce ourselves. Annie.
Well, thank you everyone for these comments. Absolutely, that's where I was coming from with it as well, this kind of stripping away. And I thought, well, what's left? There's something left there, which is love, you know, Carmela. But I thought, you know, each of us brings a particular presence, a particular way of loving into the world, a particular embodiment of love. And I'm the eldest of 8 children, and I was just reflecting on how different each of us are. You know, as the eldest, I saw these children being born and coming in with, you know, different, just different orientations and ways of expressing love in the world. So I would say, who am I? I'm a channeling, presencing of love in the world. Maybe that would be a way to put it.
That is beautiful. And it's a perfect segue into the next part of it, where we get to evolve our energy, we get to change our energy. And it's not so much our words or our actions, or even what we do in the world, but it's the energy with which we come from. Just like if we all said the same words, we could pick up a different way of being from each person, because the words mean different things to each of us, based on our experiences and how the words got said to us as we were growing. And we pick up on these different words. So when we use them, it has a different meaning. And we tend to be in the presence of words as representations of our energy. So we get to shift our energy, and that is the power that we have. So going into the Truth Walker's Manifesto, this is a guideline of how to live your deepest truth, not just oneself personally, but how to do it collectively in a way that that you're able to bring peace. I sent out an email yesterday. So before we discuss that, let me just give you some background with this email. For several weeks, I've been feeling so extremely empty. I was just depleted. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's like we were discussing at the Bridging Continents call this morning. What came to me is the darkness doesn't have to be something bad. It's not a polarity. The darkness could also be the womb, the birthplace of the light. I've been feeling really, really empty, and I recognized I was at the bottom of my new growth level. It doesn't feel great. I didn't feel like producing anything. I didn't send out an email to my list for maybe 6 weeks. It was like I was ignoring them. And then yesterday, I wanted to tell people about this session. And I thought, this is something I want to do. And I still started typing, and nothing was coming until the subject line came. And it was, see, now I don't even remember the subject line, but it was something to do with truth. Truth comes in the silence of peace, something like that. Or truth comes in silence, yes. And that's when it comes with that whole emptiness. And there was a question that actually came about, am I shifting the collective energy, or is the collective energy shifting me? It's not a bad thing in any of those two situations, but the consciousness of it is such a great awareness, because that's part of our empowerment, that we get to shift the collective energy. So with the Truth Walker's Manifesto, that's the main part of it, that we have the power to shift our personal energy and then the collective energy. And so in so doing, in so being, we're able to shift what we call peace or not peace into peace in the world. It may not look like that with the collective, it may not look like that with the media headlines, but there is some kind of shifting going on. And we can see it if you just look at the questions people are asking on social media, influencers or their blogs. Even the media, mainstream media, jumps on the bandwagon because they can see this is now producing a lot of reaction, and they want that. So we're starting to ask consciousness questions about why things are the way they are, and what we can do to make them to to have that power to shift things. So let's go to the principles of the Truth Walkers Manifesto. There are 8 principles. I hadn't thought of that when it came through me, it just came. But in these few days, I've been hearing a lot about the number 8, and of course, 8 on its side is infinity, and there's a lot of symbolism. So we can go there, taking into account also that a lot of people in the last few days are feeling this different kind of collective energy. It's the solstice today. When I decided to ask for, today and the time that I wanted for this particular session, I actually at the time had no idea it was a solstice. It wasn't like I didn't know, but I hadn't really tapped into the awareness. So this is just perfect divine timing in its own way, and it's coming through all of us as co-creators. What I'm going to ask is that I said to everyone who is participating here that the 8 principles of the Truth Walkers Manifesto for living your deepest truth and creating change in the world that you wish to see, I wanted that to be personified, one by each person. And when I was thinking of who to ask, it didn't so much happen that consciously. It just happened that I was in a group with a certain person, and just I thought, oh, this person would be perfect for a certain principle, or I was in a Zoom call, and that's how it came. So I want to thank all of you, and Shamima, Kamala, whoever is doing the spotlighting, I'd like you to please, as I call out a principle, if you could just please spotlight the person, and when the next principle comes, leave the first person spotlighted. I learned from Diana Claire the other day that 9 people can be spotlighted, so it's just perfect anyway. All right, so principle number 1 of the Truth Walkers Manifesto is the awakening. And thank you, Cami Flake, for embodying that principle. If you could please just read that and the essence of it.
I am mind, body, spirit, birthed from, of, on Mother Earth. I am the personification of 13.8 billion years of evolution. This principle recognizes and honors the entirety of your being. It creates the space for you to find and connect with your deepest truth.
Thank you. And if we could all just be with that, to find and connect with your deepest truth, going to the words, the question, who am I? If you can put down the answer in your heart to who am I, what will it be? And if you feel called, write it down. And if you don't, just be with it. Just take a few seconds there. And now we move on to principle 2, the journey, which is personified by Annie Spade.
I choose to journey inward, listening deeply and connecting with Source within. Through principle 2, you're setting the intention to find your deepest truth in the moment and breathe it in. You're giving permission to yourself to explore the journey within and know that this journey holds value and purpose.
Thank you. And that journey within, again, that goes to the question, this time the second question, what is my deepest truth? And connecting with, depending on what you believe, I use source, you could use God within, you could use your heart, your center, whatever calls to you. Label's not important. So let's just be with that. And if something comes to you, here's how we can explore that. Just write the words. This is a truth journey. Just write the words. The truth is that. And just allow the words to come to you however they come. We're just going to take a few seconds. And now moving on to principle 3. And principle 3 is, let me just see, the being. And Shamima is going to personify that principle.
I choose to be my deepest truth, bringing the energy of love and respect to every being and every interaction, including interactions with myself. Principle 3 highlights the inspired action one takes to connect with one's deepest truth in the moment and to bring this truth to one's conscious awareness.
Thank you, Shamima. And just bringing what you said, Carmela, I am love. So just be with that. How does it feel to be with principle 3? How does it feel to just bring that energy of love and respect to every being in every interaction, even the interactions with self? And just that communication, whether it's now in this moment with self or whether it's with anyone else, does it feel aligned? Does it feel good? You can just be with that esoterically or be with that within and ask yourself that, and you may get a yes, it feels good, or no, or feel the sense of right now I want to be more aligned, or right now I feel so good, I really feel in the zone. And now moving on to principle 4, the freeing, and Dana will embody that principle.
I choose to free my being from the constraints of expectations, approval, definitions, circumstance, thoughts, words, actions, and reactions that don't feel aligned with my deepest truth. Through this principle, you are keeping your deepest truth as the foundation of every interaction you have, knowing you are freeing yourself for the journey to your highest potential.
Thank you so much, Dana. And just thinking about that, and that's one that can be a real trigger, because do we really feel that we're freeing ourselves from expectations and approval and definitions and circumstances? A lot of times we search for an apology or a justification or a just being able to vent, that was not fair, or this affected my life, and I want at least the recognition that it affected my life. And we all do this. We are all this part of it where it's hard to free ourselves from that. And that's probably the greatest trigger. And yet, when we free ourselves from that, we're freeing ourselves from any other approval, expectation, or definition out there. And we don't even tend to come so strongly with someone has to know this about me. They have to know who I am, because we just feel like it comes through. And it's really not important if someone knows who you are or who you are not, or what you stand for and what you don't. So there we were exploring that question, not just what is my deepest truth. And one of you said that, oh, it was Lisa Berman. You said that, you know, who am I not? You said something like that, you know, exploring that, and you know who you are. And this is such a great way of saying, who am I not? Because by the process of elimination, you're coming to who you really are, and it feels real, and it feels unlayered. It feels, to a certain point, vulnerable, and we feel like we are who we were born to be all our lives. So it's just that freedom. That's why it's called the freeing. There was something else also here. Yes, the question that we're exploring out of those three questions, it's what is my deepest truth? Question 2. It could be question 1, who am I, which relates, but it's also very subtly relating to question 3, what am I bringing to our collective table? Because when we know who we are not, we know what we can bring, and that we're bringing something that feels authentic. So going deeper into that, just ask one question. What may I free myself of in this moment? See what comes, if anything. So we'll just take a few seconds. Wow, the storm seems to be over. I wonder what message that was. Maybe it was stormy inside of myself as we explored this. Going on to principle number 5, the healing 2. And Sheila is personifying this principle.
Okay. I choose to consciously heal to my next evolutionary level of being. This principle acknowledges healing as a natural process of life. You're not healing from something that you don't want. You're healing to your next evolutionary level. As evolving beings, we are always healing.
Thank you, Sheila. And that's something where we always, well, not always, for the most part, a lot of people consider healing a curative thing, where it's something was wrong and was fixed, and now I'm healing and it's right, at least for the moment. And what if we looked at it that nothing's wrong? It's all about healing to our next evolutionary level. We're always healing to something. So coming back to our collective, if we feel like that in our personal capacity, what could we see as part of the collective? What are we healing to? A few weeks ago, I did an Akashic Records reading. Those of you who know me know that I am an Akashic Records reader. And something came through that I felt almost disrespectful about in the sacred space, because what came is that even people that we in our humanity consider evil or have considered that they did evil things, they contributed to evolution, they contributed to the collective. Now, if that feels really uncomfortable or triggering, to say that when we look at Hitler, we may see everything we do not want to be. We may see everything we do not want to do. And then we know what it is we want to be and what it is we want to do. And that shift, it just tells us that we want it more strongly than ever. I always give an example to illustrate this, that here in South Africa, we have load shedding, which is mandatory power cuts. And I think I always did appreciate light. However, now I appreciate it even more. When I hear the fridge singing, it has significance for me. When I see that I'm in the darkness and the light goes on, I feel the appreciation very, very deeply, even more deeply than I feel the injustice of why we're having the load shedding. So looking at the healing too, where did we heal to because of something that was done that we considered pure evil? You know, it still enabled us to heal. So the question, so where it fits in with those three questions is, what is my deepest truth? Because our truth changes as we healing to our next evolutionary level. We come to a point where our deepest truth has shifted. It has deepened or shifted in a significant way that, looking back, we wouldn't be able to, at that time, a few years ago, recognize who we are now in that person. So that comes to the second question. It also comes to, what am I bringing to the collective table? Because if all of us are healing to our next level, then we all as a collective heal to our next level. And let's just, in this personal journey right here and now, just ask ourselves, what am I healing to? And again, just see what comes. Yeah. And just take a few seconds, be with that. And what just came for me is, I am healing to peace. And again, it's not a final state, as one of you said, it's a journey. All right, going to the next principle, principle 6. And principle 6 is the embracing, and that is Lisa Burney. Thank you.
Thanks, Hesina. I am interconnected with every being on Mother Earth. I choose to contribute to our collective evolution through my own conscious evolution. This principle is the awareness of your interconnectedness with your world in every situation. Your thoughts, words, actions, and interactions are a contribution to the evolution of our collective.
Thank you, Lisa. So going back to our 3 questions. Question 3, what am I bringing to our collective table? Contributing our own collective evolution to the conscious evolution. And we've just slid into that so nicely from, the previous healing too. So the question that we can ask ourselves on this personal journey is, what do I want to bring to the collective table? And let's go a little deeper. What do I feel called to bring to our collective table? And just take a few seconds. And moving into principle 7, the recognizing, which Lisa Berman is going to personify.
I respect that every being has the right to live out their divine truth in, with, and from freedom. So principle 7 honors the right of every being to live from their deepest truth.
Thank you, Lisa. And just going into principle 7, when we get to a point where we're recognizing that every being has the right to their deepest truth, knowing that what we started off with at the beginning of the journey is that we want to live from our truth, and no individual's truth can be exactly the same as any other individual's truth. So when we want that for ourselves, we've now reached that point where we're giving and we're sharing and we're saying, I don't just recognize that right for myself. I recognize that right for everyone. And it gets a bit sticky for us because we don't always understand someone else's truth. It's like, how could you possibly think that? Like, where are you coming from? And we have the sense of that because in our minds, we have a sense of justice, we have a sense of equality. We come from our deepest intention. What if we just take a step back and say, that's exactly what the person is saying. It's as if that person is the mirror and we're looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying that, this is what I come from. I come from a sense of wanting justice, wanting equality, wanting good things, having good intentions, and just looking at that person like, I am you and you are me. So going into that, and that definitely goes to the third question we ask ourselves in life. And I'm just going to repeat the 3 questions because I know some of you have joined in the middle of the session. So the 3 questions that we all tend to ask in life is, who am I? The second question, what is my deepest truth? And it may be in different words that we ask that. And the third question, what am I bringing to our collective table? So this principle 7, recognizing everyone's right to live out their divine truth in freedom, in, with, and from freedom, relates to that third question we ask ourselves, what am I bringing to the collective table? And if I'm bringing the recognition that we all get to do this, then there is an element of peace. Thank you for typing it, Shamima. There's an element of peace that we get to contribute to our world. So going back to when we were saying that it's about being, it's not necessarily doing. Build the foundation. Doing is an extension of being. And it sounded so esoteric to anyone who was listening. And we have to remind ourselves that it is in the recognition that we bring that everyone gets to live out their divine truth, that we come to our collective table and we go, you do, and you do, and you do, and that leads to collective peace. How can we have peace in the world with no world wars? By doing that. And if we came together as we the people, as we part of organizations that are working so hard or being so fully that they're committing to world peace, that's what everyone's bringing to the table. We'll just take a few seconds of silence. Think about a truth that maybe was brought to you by a fellow being that you don't agree with. And in your mind, just look them in the eye or from the heart, whatever, and say, I recognize your right to live out your divine truth in, with, and from freedom. And now getting to principle 8. And this is a very exciting principle. We want peace in our world. It all culminates in this. So principle 8 is the contributing, and Brian is embodying this principle.
I choose to be part of creating a world where every being can live out their divine truth in, with, and from freedom. This principle recognizes every truth walker's desire and inspired action to create a world where every being feels safe and free to live in the light of their deepest truth.
Thank you, Brian. That's huge, right? How do we go about even contemplating that? So it gets back to the recognition. When you recognize that I want that for you, just like I want that for me. So we're in principle 7, the recognizing, and you move into that question that we asked after principle 7. What do I want to bring to the collective table? Or was it, we asked that just a little while ago. Go to what we said we want to bring to the collective table, and then go into the 3 questions that we ask ourselves throughout our lives. They all culminate in this: who am I? Because it's so much my energy and who am I that says what I want to bring and the change that I want to create. And then what is my deepest truth? Again, to know what change do I want to create in our world? And instead of change, let's take that away and say, what do I want to contribute as my deepest truth? If someone were to look at you and say, like, okay, what if you were to choose just one thing, what's your deepest truth? What is that? What would be most important to you as your deepest truth? And then the third question that we ask ourselves throughout our life, the most important thing to do with this principle of the contributing, very directly, what am I bringing to our collective table? And it's for those of us who feel a strong sense of, I came into this world too, that really comes out strongly for us. And if one just comes into the world to say, I'm enjoying the world, that still comes out, because it's like you want to come from kindness, you want to come from sharing and happiness, and it's not about doing and coming and saying that I'm going to do this peace negotiation. Some of us may feel called to that, but others of us are just contributing that beingness where someone comes in to our place of business or interacts with us, and we say, have a wonderful day, or let me help you with that, or let me do this. And it totally changes one's day, and in some cases, one's life. So I'll relate just a personal experience on that, because I want to tie this all together to the bigger picture. I was shopping some months ago, and I reached the till, the checkout point, and there was a queue. So there was a lady in front of me, let's call her X, and there was another lady, let's call her Y. And so Lady Y was busy paying, and suddenly she said a bit louder, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I'm so sorry. The cashier said, no, it's okay. And she turned to us, lady, the first lady and I, and she said, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, I'm holding up the line. And I said, something came out of my mouth that would never usually come out of my mouth, because I don't believe that I put into the universe, life is hard. But I said, you know what? Life is hard enough as it is. We get to be kind. So, and just be patient. And I kind of spoke up for the lady in front of me as well, but she nodded and she was in full agreement. So the lady who was paying, I thought, why did that come out of my mouth like that? But the lady who was paying turned around and she said, I just lost my mother. And like, that was a huge thing, right? And so I was walking to the next till, and I was passing her. Shamima and I have these fridge magnets that have a quote on and the Leave No Girl Behind International logo. This is our girls' empowerment organization. So I took one of those magnets out, and I thought, well, I'm not sure it's appropriate, but it just came to me. So I took it to her, and I said to her that I'm sorry for your loss. Here's something for you. It's a fridge magnet, and it may not be appropriate for now, but when it is, you might like to stick it on your fridge and just be with it. And she was so grateful, and she said, thank you so much. And that was a little thing, and I don't know, but in the moment, it made a difference to her. And we get to do that and have that as a way of being. So how do we take that to the bigger picture? We get to come to the collective table metaphorically, because it's not all one big collective table physically, but we get to do that. And maybe that person whose life you touched has a ripple effect on the next person they interact with. And that's one way. But now we're looking at the collective piece. How do we do that? And we get to do that by recognizing everyone's right to their deepest truth, but wanting to create that, like believing in freedom so much that we want that person to have the right to live as they choose to live. And it's not about when people are misaligned and infringing on someone else's rights or taking someone's freedom and taking their life, but in their own journey, we want them to have the right to just be that. And that's what we get to bring. Now, I'd love to open this up now just for a collective discussion. I know that some of the points are triggering, so I ask you to just, if you see a lot of people interacting, just keep it succinct. And if not, feel free to contribute and, just be in a space of, we get to bring that love, we get to be that love, because it can be triggering. So yeah, just be in that space. And Cami, I know that you've got to go as well. Thank you for raising your hand, Lisa. So Cami, if you want to say something first, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, I'd love you to be able to contribute before you need to go at the top of the hour. So.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. It was beautiful to have this embodied by all of you. And I felt like I had such a deeper understanding. And this is just a wonderful way to start. I'm in California, so it's early here. So this is a beautiful way to start the day. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I just want to thank Anna Marie for being here. And Anna Marie, if there's anything you want to say before you go, feel free.
Well, I would like to build on Cami. For me, it was kind of like a nice moment at the end of the day whilst we go into the evening to align myself more deeper so that I can show up more real, authentically in the next spaces where I'll be showing up in the world, enlightening our way together. And see you around there. And thank you, Hasina. And it's been a lovely, lovely, loving space here. So enjoy the conversations and see you.
Thank you. And you already embody that, like, so much.
It's always, like you said, an evolutionary learning journey. There's always more to practice. So thank you for that.
And we're just going to open up for discussion. So Lisa, thank you for raising your hand, Lisa Verney.
Well, thank you so much for this. Such a powerful collective here and things to think about. What I wanted to say is that I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people in their evolutionary journey. And what's been such a theme has been this emptying and this purifying, I would say purifying really, of what people are not, letting that go, and the essence of their radiance and their deepest truth rising. And part of my deepest truth is to see that in people and to help people to do that. So I just wanted to say that it's been very aligned with what we're talking about today. You've given me so much more even to think about.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Annie. I'll ask you.
Sorry, I couldn't get the unmute. Yeah, I just was really reflecting on especially that last principle about giving others freedom and that whole allowing and all of that just as a part of this whole process, Hasina, I think that was a beautiful, it allowed me to kind of put this all together. It's something that I've been trying to articulate for a little while, but when we run up against that, if you will, someone that's got a completely opposing view, let's say, of something, that looking deeper into what's driving that, because there's going to be a common human longing or theme underneath it. This is very simplistic, but I always remember when Barack Obama was accepting the nomination and he was saying, we need to find common ground. So he lifted out several different issues. And the one that sticks in my mind is abortion. And he said, we can all agree that there are too many unwanted pregnancies. I mean, again, that's just kind of a simplistic, you could also say, you know, when someone conceives, they need support and they need, you know, whatever you could go to, but just that looking to harken back to your whole process here, Hasina, because it's all about in the invitation to each one of us to listen in deeply and find not, you know, that just since I called out politics, you know, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm, you know, whatever, you know, getting beyond those to that human level and that that particular personal call to bring love, loving kindness into the world. How can we find common ground in that space with others, you know, even though the view out here or the activity out here might seem very opposed to us, it's really coming from a very human longing, and to try to get down to that ground is just what I'm taking away from this. So thank you.
Thank you. I've just taken a note here where you said the invitation. I just love that. Like we're truly being invited into that space to do that. And maybe that's what this contrast is doing in the world, giving us an invitation, like in such strong words, we can't possibly miss it. Donna.
I hope I can get through this without tears. That was very moving. It's interesting when you said invitation. I was coming on to say thank you for the invitation here. When I did this process by myself, even though I don't feel alone, it was still my process. But to realize that this collective is part of my truth, and to be here today is it's been an amazing experience. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It is amazing. And, you know, I can still think of all the chats we had about things like this without labeling it like this, you know, late night discussions and so on. And we all contribute to one another, contribute these little mosaic pieces, and we become a mosaic of everyone whose contribution we accept, and even those we don't, because then we know the mosaic piece that we're creating by not wanting to be that, right? Sheila.
Yes, thank you, Sina, for this incredible conversation, and I'm resonating with so much. And thank you for writing the incredible book that you just published. Some years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I had a personal realization that truth is a moving target. And I've kind of really understood that and really embodied that and have lived it for these last 15, 20 years. And, you know, came into the understanding that we are all co-creators. We're here to expand humanity, and that righteousness, or meaning in this context of righteousness of wanting to believe that something is absolutely true, is very limiting, and personally took away my right to choose whatever it is that I want, and to keep the moving target moving along so that I could expand. And at the same time that, you know, feeling that truth is a moving target, there isn't really any truth. It's really about perspective. And at the very same time, every single person's, every being's truth, whatever that is, matters and is very, very significant to the whole. And it's very significant in moving along this moving target. So that was something that for me personally, it really has helped me flow along. It has helped keep me feeling unlimited, and it's opened up a world of not needing to figure out, you know, what is true, which I had spent the decades before doing. You know, I was racking myself, my brain, you know, sort of was born as this spiritual being, as we all are, but very, very focused in it, even as a young person. And so, you know, I had searched and searched for many truths until I came to this understanding. So that's something that I personally live by.
Well, thank you for your search, Sheila. And your search led you to host your super conscious think tank. And so thank you for being one of my mosaic pieces, you know, in the whole that I am through that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love that. I love that concept of the mosaic too. Really love that.
Lisa Berman.
I'd like to bring into the view, like you start with number one, I'm mind, body, spirit. So inquiring my truth might even change on from which perspective I'm looking from. So on a physical level, I might say I am suffering. If I go to my spiritual essence, I might feel I'm whole and complete and everything is perfect and there is no suffering at all. So even within myself, what just was said, it's like a moving target. It has a different levels within myself. So, but I think if I go to number 8, the absolute freedom, and I can really embrace I'm divine essence having a human experience, then I come to the conclusion not living my truth means that I'm not being authentic, not aligned with my divine essence. So I accept I am having an inherent divine truth, and it's in every being. And so everyone has a unique and authentic path and purpose. So then, you know, it's like seeing this whole 7 aspects. I think it leads to the absolute freedom of all beings to live authentically and in accordance with their divine truth. Yeah. But on the level of body, mind, spirit, I might, you know, my mind might say I'm really right. My is the absolute truth, but that's just one level perspective. Yeah.
Wow.
So thank you.
Thank you. I love that. Perceiving it from all these different facets. It's like one of those, what do you call it? Mirror balls at the disco. And you just see the different facets. And sometimes we get stuck on that one facet, and that's all there is. That's the only color there is, you know, it's the only side that there is. But thank you for bringing that home. I love the way you took us through that. Brian.
Yes, thank you, Hasina, for this, and all of you for your contributions. Yesterday, I wanted to share a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, and I'd like to just read it. It's brief. We but mirror the world. All of the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and that the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. Really love that.
Thank you. I so love that because it ties in with, that point, the freeing, where we free ourselves from expectations, definitions, approvals, and everything along the way. And it's so liberating, but it's also so triggering, and it feels difficult. Once we start doing that at every level, and it comes up at every level, at least it does for me, that you think that, okay, I feel freed, I can be who I am until the next growth level, and something happens that's deeper, and you think, okay, this is my work to free myself from the journey of anyone and everyone else, and know that I interact, but I don't need to walk in their footprints. I can blaze my own trail. So, yeah, I love that quote. Thank you, Brian. That's beautiful. And Michael, I'm reading your messages in the chat, especially this one. Truth is to know without knowing what the heart knows, and the remembering the known that we came with. We all know this truth, Wow, that one, that's a whole meditation on its own, right? Connie.
Hi all. I'm sorry I came in very late, but from your 3 questions and the discussion, I just would add from my perspective, it seems that you're talking about a journey to self-love and self-acceptance at the core of all this, for speaking one's truth and feeling confident to do that, and to know that we came with a gift and that all of creation is awaiting that gift that is us, all of us. But we have parts of ourselves that we personally don't accept and don't love yet, and that so many of those experiences come to us to show us those parts we don't love yet, so that we will bring our truth. And I think your work is for that process. It seems you're really focusing on that and bringing people into that process. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring was, discernment as far as other people's truths and where one puts one's attention feeds the collective, so that if someone has a truth that you don't resonate to use your discernment for where you put your attention for feeding the collective with what you have to bring. I mean, I just experienced that in this Enlightening Our Way Together, as I brought forth something from my perspective on awakening to our pan-indigenousness, which is all very high vibration, looking at what's coming on the planet, that's opening our hearts to our universal truths, that we all carry deep in our hearts and all that. And then the next person that came on after me was speaking her truth. She'd been through many wars and was speaking on political shamanism. And her truth is very important for her experience. But she went to levels that I didn't resonate to. And I could feel it in my body. You know, I just had to leave because I don't put my attention there. But it was important for her to do that. And for all, I've never been through a war. So I have a different soul's journey. I was born in 1946 in New England after World War II. So I've never experienced that, which is my soul's journey for my gift, what I have to bring, my life experience. And her life experience is important for her gift, for what she's bringing to people who've had those experiences. And her pathway is to that shamanism. I didn't stay for the whole thing because I just had to go. I couldn't stay for the lower vibration aspects of it. So I just think it's important that we use discernment for what resonates for us, and then we put our attention on the highest vibration we can for feeding the collective to get to this tipping point of peace on earth and heaven on earth, and us coming in. I see it as a frequency thing, as you know, that getting into that higher frequency where the laws are different, it's a completely different reality. So that's key in my world, is encouraging people to put their attention on the highest vibration they can to get us into that tipping point, into that higher vibration. But it's a process for everyone. Everyone has a different process.
It is.
So her process is so important, what she's bringing, because she's taking people through that lower frequency into a higher frequency. So thank you.
Thank you, Connie. I found it so interesting that you got the self-love piece. It's so awesome to see it from your perspective, coming into it, not having, participated at the beginning of the journey, because I wrote there self-love, and obviously that played in with what we were co-creating here. So I love the way that you describe it. Thank you so much. And I know that we're reaching the end of this discussion, and I just want to thank everyone for co-creating and just putting into the ether right now, claiming personal sovereignty for collective peace, for nourishment of peace, and just tying those together. And how do we, and what Connie was saying is actually just leading into this, that how do we do that? And claiming personal sovereignty is the greatest act of self-love, because we get to claim who we are and what our deepest truth is, and then what we bring to the table. So we're going to, I just want to thank everyone for co-creation today, and all the contribution and all the mosaic pieces that contributed. Our collective table has been very enriched by all of you. So I'm going to end with just a few things, if you'd like to just take them in on an energetic level and just see how it feels. And when I talk about peace, I'm talking about PEACE. So this session was called the Truth Walker's Journey 8 Peace Power, based on the Truth Walker's Manifesto. Shamima has put the link in here. If you want to download the Truth Walker's Manifesto, just feel free to do that. It's on that page. So bringing it all together, I am a piece of the power. So we get to be a piece of the power. I am proactive, intentional, a breath, an inhale, an exhale, a muscle flex. Because we get to put our energy into mind, body, or spirit in the moment and just be in that space of creation. I create the collective. If every single I comes to the collective table, wow, I create the collective. What do we get to create? And the last reflection, I am a reflection / hologram in the whole. I am a whole within the whole. That's empowering. So I'll end with that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for your energy, word, and thought contributions. Thank you.